Hey, what's up, everyone? DREAGEN here, and
Ashley.
we're switching it up a little bit. I'm on this side now because, like the King of the Monsters himself, apparently I can't move through a civilized space without causing destruction of some kind. So my big heavy ass broke one of the legs on this chair, so I'm sitting on the other one now. So, in case you were, pondering that great mystery,
I'm sure no one was.
Now you know. That's what we're all about here, just unveiling truths. But anyway, it's been a minute again, as it seems like we can never do these as often as we would like, due to just kind of busy schedules and just all the other stuff we're throwing up on the channel. But today we want to, this month for sure, do a KAIJU Cataclysm, and we were going to do it on Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle, which just now that the film's out, but we're in a week or so going to be doing the KAIJU commentary for that.
Isn't it the next one?
Yeah, we've got Rampage coming out this week, and then we're going to have that one. So we'd pretty much just be repeating ourselves. So if you're curious to know what our thoughts are on that film in particular, just give about a week and you will know. So in the meantime, we're going to talk about the more recently announced, a few months back really, Toho Godzilla Cinematic Universe that they're planning on kicking off in 2021. So basically, kind of the deal that they struck with Legendary when Legendary got the rights to do the MonsterVerse Godzilla was that Toho would not be doing a live action Godzilla film till 2021, with the exception of Shin, just because there was going to be such a big gap in between the 2014 film and King of the Monsters. So they did Shin, made it kind of a one and done. Which, by the way, real quick out of the gate. This will not be out of the bat, out of the gate. Out of the bat. I am the knight.
Jesus.
This will not be a sequel to Shin. They've already announced that they are going to be rebooting the character within their franchise. I'm not sure if that's going to once again include the 54 Godzilla's canon, or they're going to do what they did with Shin again, which they're just going to make it a brand new origin story. But Shin will not be a part of that. So Shin is a one and done. I'm okay with that. I mean, I really, really like Shin, but I feel Shin is a kind of a standoff story, and I think it works best.
No, and the way it ended, it doesn't really...
Yeah, I mean, spoilers, folks, if you haven't seen it yet, but you see Shin going through yet another evolution where he was breaking off into those kind of humanoid Godzilla creatures, implying that now
he's gonna become Legion.
Essentially, which is cool, but it's no longer Godzilla.
Yeah.
So if they decided they were going to just do another monster movie that was using a Godzilla movie as the branch off mode, but that's not Godzilla anymore, and I think it's just more haunting to know that that could still happen in that universe. So I agree with it, and again, I think that Shin is very much a standalone film that had a very specific purpose and a very specific message, and it did that, and then to kind of turn that into a franchise, I think it would kind of dilute that message. So I think it's fine on its own, and then also that way we get a new Godzilla. So I'm very curious. I'm always curious to see what a new take on Godzilla is going to be. Godzilla. But yeah. So there's not much right now. Keiji Oda, the CEO of Toho, basically came out and said that surprise, surprise, they're very much influenced by what Marvel's doing. This idea of taking all their characters, kind of introducing them for the most part in their own films, and then having them team up in a larger film, or having them then kind of cross over here and there in each other's films. So they're basically kind of implying that not only will Godzilla be getting his own film initially, but other characters like King Ghidorah or Mothra will also be now introduced in this new continuity in their own films before crossing over, which I like it because initially in the start of the show era, that is what Toho was doing. You had the original 54 Gojira. Mothra had a solo film. Rodan had a solo film. Varan had a solo film.
Had a solo film first.
Yeah, and then they started doing more crossovers. I think it was really, I'll say Godzilla or King Kong versus Godzilla was a big crossover, but King Kong was kind of like a guest in the Toho universe. Yeah. But it really wasn't until it was Mothra versus Godzilla where they took two of their monsters, put them together, and had a huge success with it. That they started realizing, well, why don't we just kind of make the Godzilla franchise the backbone of our company, and introduce all the other corresponding kaijus through them, and that's kind of been their formula, which is why I've always said that the original Universal Monsters and the Toho Godzilla universes are kind of the first cinematic universes, though Marvel's technically doing what they did way back when. So this is not a new formula. I think Marvel was just kind of really the first studio to really do it in the modern age and do a very good job of it, and now seeing the success of it, Toho was like, okay, well, we were kind of doing something similar to this once upon a time. So let's dust that off and kind of just tweak it so it kind of fits that model that's working out really well, and do our characters that way. So as it stands right now, that's pretty much all we know about it. Now, the other question that comes up now is like, what about the Monsterverse? You know, how is that going to continue? And initially, the deal with Warner Brothers and Legendary was that they're going to do 3 films. And, you know, that would be it. And really it was because of the success of the 2014 film that, you know, the kickback that Toho got from that helped them, you know, finance Shin. So if you're wondering why Shin looks so damn good, there's a little extra coin in their pocket from that. But also kind of vitalized the character, kind of reinvigorated interest, even in Japan, in Godzilla. So, however, money has a way of changing everything, and with with the success of that and the hype, just the single Comic-Con trailer alone is getting with that. Plus
to be fair, that was a fucking amazing trailer.
That was an amazing trailer. Whether you're a Godzilla fan or not, or you're excited by this kind of thing or not, that was probably one of the best trailers I have ever seen.
Chills, man.
Yeah, and I would have said that.
Watch it again.
I know. Well, I watched that thing a million times.
I know.
And I would say the same thing if that trailer was about the Care Bears or something. You know, it was just a well put together trailer.
Yeah.
But needless to say, it got everyone excited, both fans and non-fans alike.
Did its job.
Did its job, and also the following year we have the promise of Godzilla and King Kong battling it out. So there's a lot of hype. And not too long ago, but a few months before this, Toho had kind of come out saying that starting in 2020 or 2021, any licensing they do of their title characters, including Godzilla, they name dropped him, they would be co-producing it and basically fronting about 25% of the production budget. Which, to me, I heard that, I'm like, okay, well, if they're not going to be licensing out Godzilla past 2020, why even announce that? Or why would you then go and turn around and license it out to another studio when you already have one American studio, you know, making movies? So when I heard that, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, and then shortly thereafter we hear the announcement of this new cinematic universe. Yeah. And I'm kind of getting the sense that we're going to see a repeat of what 2014 was to Shin on a larger scale, meaning we're going to be getting a Monsterverse Godzilla, meaning we're getting like I would clearly at this point call it an international Godzilla. And because Toho is co-financing that now, they are going to be making more money in return. And with that kickback, they're now going to be able to essentially kind of bankroll the majority of their own kind of homegrown production. So essentially you're having the American Godzilla finance the Japanese Godzilla, and allowing these movies. So essentially we might have 2
big franchises
going on at the same time. And I know that Toho obviously was doing the animated Godzilla films on Netflix, utilizing streaming media as a platform. So I honestly...
Which is funny, because for them, you know, that's new. Netflix just barely, you know, kind of got over there like a year or 2 ago now.
Yeah. And it's been slowly kind of building.
Yeah.
But I know that Japan has been really pushing for Netflix. They've been going to a lot of the convention. They're doing a lot of original anime on Netflix, like exclusive to Netflix.
Especially starting this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's now
live action dramas and stuff on there.
Yeah. There's a big push for streaming media to kind of get a foothold in Japan now, and by releasing these, this other franchise of Godzilla possibly on Netflix. That'll be kind of honestly the way a lot of people are probably going to be introduced to Godzilla, because it's a lot easier just to turn on your TV and queue up Netflix and have the big first thing that pops up be like a Godzilla movie versus putting pants on and going out to a movie theater.
No one likes wearing pants.
No one likes wearing pants. If there weren't laws against it, I wouldn't do it. But
wear a skirt.
Real talk. But that's the thing. So. I mean, they're banking on a lot of star power, a lot of huge, big Hollywood effects spectacle to get people to go to the theaters. Meanwhile, you're at home on the couch, and even if it's not going to match the visual, spectacle of like the Western Godzilla, we're going to see Toho really kind of push forth a more modern Godzilla. I mean, Shin was a good indication of what they can do now. But even when I saw that, I was thinking to myself, they can do more. This is like we're seeing now them entering this new age of filmmaking using digital technology to bring the character to life. But I still felt like, okay, they're going to go further with it, and I think
it's one of those things too, because of the American movies, or I guess movie. But I mean, I'm sure the reception for even just the trailer for the new one, they kind of get an idea of what's popular, I guess, with Godzilla over here. Not that they're going to copy that, but obviously that's going to help them in kind of shaping their movie, their franchise.
And I know what a lot of people are going to say. No, Toho has their own Godzilla. It's their own thing.
Well, they don't need to their own.
Well, yeah, but I always tell people Godzilla first and foremost is a business.
Yeah.
They're doing it first and foremost for a monetary return. And if you don't believe me, just look at both times or 2 or 3 times they retired him. Why?
Yeah.
Because he wasn't making the money. As much as they love this character, they love him a lot more when he's bringing in money. When he stops bringing in money, we get Terror of Mechagodzilla, and then we have a hiatus. We get the end of the Millennium, series, which didn't go off on a high note financially speaking over there. So they like Godzilla. But they're not going to make Godzilla movies.
They're not going to go bankrupt for it.
Exactly. And if they feel that there's a way to make Godzilla that's going to be more profitable than another way, you better believe that's what they're going to do. Their goal, they want to maintain his integrity as a character. They want to serve the interests of the character, sure. But once that's, you check off those boxes, then it's like, okay, now how can we make the most amount of money
Well,
with
as
them?
it is, I mean, the fact that they've done these animated movies, I mean, again, I know initially it was supposed to be a series, but they're still going into a new medium, which maybe people want to watch it before, but now that it's an anime, and I know 3D, Japan's really pushing like 3D anime. At least it seems so, because they've been producing a lot of them. But,
with more to come on the horizon.
Yeah, but I think they're just trying to kind of not get a shoe-in, like a new market, because it's not, but you know what I mean? Like,
well, they're trying to get ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
They don't want to get left behind. And again, that was also part of their agreement that they have like a Godzilla committee now, Toho, where they basically want, from 2016 on, they wanted a Godzilla movie coming out every year.
Yeah.
And with the animated films, and then the 2 legendary films, and then what they're going to have in 2021 starting out, they're going to have that. So they're really pushing the Marvel format where they're cranking out this brand every year. And if they're going to do a cinematic universe, we might be seeing a couple movies a year, like maybe one Godzilla movie and then like a Mothra movie. They're going to try to... But again, if they're basically co-producing this other, Western franchise, or majority produced by a Western company, iteration of the character, that's a lot of money coming to the bank, and that can then filter back in to their kind of revenue stream. And in addition to that, people who maybe don't like watching foreign movies, or reading movies with subtitles, they might be introduced to this character through the MonsterVerse, and then get really into Godzilla, and then suddenly want more. And
Well, and I think that's also the what's the word? Like, the good thing about the animated movies, obviously, is you can dub them easier. It's not going to look as awkward as any kind of live action dub is.
And also, too, if you get people really interested in the character, then they might be willing to then watch a subtitle movie because it's a Godzilla movie, and now I'm obsessed with Godzilla, and oh god, I need more Godzilla. Hey, guess what? On Netflix right now, there's another Godzilla movie.
And I feel like the whole, I don't want to say, stigmatism, but I feel like it's not as big of a deal now that people have to read subtitles.
I think it is changing because now this more recent generation.
I mean, especially with stuff like Netflix. I mean, they have so many, like, even just original shows Netflix done that, are from, like,
Germany and
Japan, Russia, whatever, Germany. There's a bunch of different
and there's subtitles.
International shows now. Well,
again, I think we live in an age now where there's a lot of younger people who grew up watching like fans subbed anime back in the day when it would take like
we couldn't get it.
It would take like 5 years for an anime to come over here, and people were just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna watch it now."
You had to watch it in 3 parts on YouTube.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Days.
Yeah, but people got used to just watching this stuff subtitled, so I don't think it's as much of a deal breaker like it used to. Because I know that used to be a thing for people. Like, if I have to read subtitles, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm just like, cares? You can read, right? You're reading a book right now, and it's like more words than you have to read on the screen. But I don't think it's as big of a deal now. And again, if people are just hyped up for Godzilla, they'll let it go.
Hopefully they'll trump it.
Because they'll want to just the desire to kind of want to see that will override. Like, I gotta read. Fuck it, whatever. I'll just read. And then once you start reading it, you really forget you're reading subtitles.
I always do.
It's not even a conscious thing. I think it's just this idea people have in their heads. But yeah, so I mean, again, there's no guarantee, but this previous announcement of Toho saying that in future they're going to co-finance productions with their characters, including Godzilla. I'm kind of like, well, if that's it after 2020, then why is that even a thing? You know what I mean? And that's, of course, but something tells me that Legendary obviously doesn't want to stop making these movies. They don't have to, especially if they're lucrative. They're going to want to keep making Godzilla films, but they have to get permission from Toho first. So I know one of the deals that they signed when they licensed out the character was also that they could market the character like certain merchandise over here. It was all through Warner Brothers was in charge of that. That was part of the deal. That's why when you went to the Godzilla store last time in Tokyo, all this wonderful merchandise that you can only get there because part of the contract, they can't actually sell this stuff abroad. And they're saying once this contract is up, you're going to start seeing all this Godzilla merch now being made available because now Toho will be directly able to kind of sell things abroad, which is great. So I'm kind of wondering if too, basically they're saying, okay, you guys can keep the MonsterVerse going so long as these next two films don't bomb. Obviously, if they don't make any money, then it's like, what's the point? But let's say they do as well as we're hoping they're doing, and as much as the hype for them is suggesting they will. Yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna have we want more of a say in how these movies turn out. So we're gonna offer them more money. But that also means we get more control, and it also means we're gonna get a bigger kickback. In addition, we want to kind of take point on the marketing and merchandising of this character, because ultimately he's ours. Yeah. So you guys can still make these movies, and you guys can still make some money off it. That's fine. But when it comes to being in charge of the marketing, merchandise, all things Godzilla outside of just the direct MonsterVerse movies, that's on us. We'll handle that. He's ours at the end of the day. So I kind of feel like more than likely there's been a discussion had, and those are kind of the terms. Like, you want to keep making these movies? Fine, because now Toho kind of has all the bargaining chips. Because before, Godzilla was kind of a dead franchise. Yeah. I'm sorry to say. I mean, he was actually more popular in the West than he was in Japan. For a lot of young people, Godzilla was just kind of retro, passe thing. Yeah, but ultimately, kids growing up on Marvel movies didn't want to see a guy in a suit stomping around a miniature city. I love that. You love that. But a 10-year-old kid who's watching the Avengers, unfortunately, even over there, it was not what they wanted. So Toho really was kind of like, okay, fine, see what you can do with it. Good luck, And suddenly, hey, now Godzilla is a hot topic again. Shin won every Academy Award it was nominated for at the Japanese Academy Award, including Best Picture. It's one of the highest grossing Japanese films of all time. So now Toho, when Legendary comes up and says, hey, would you be interested in maybe letting us make more Beyond 3? And now Toho can be like, sure, but here's how it's going to go. Yeah. Now the kind of ball's in their court, and they have more control because they know it is now a lucrative franchise.
Well, to be fair, I mean, that's kind of how it should be anyway, so...
Yeah, I just want more Godzilla movies, folks. I don't really care who's, holding the mantle here. Oh, Legendary, whatever gets me more of this, that's really all I care about. And why not let it be told? Ultimately, it's their
that's what I mean,
creation.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care
and
who's
after,
selling...
98...
Yeah, which is also why I think one of the reasons why they didn't have a lot of confidence in it, and maybe why they didn't really want to contribute much to the production budget, because they're just kind of like, well, we'll see how this goes.
Obviously
it paid us. Now they're like, okay, so let's do this, but we're going to do this on our terms. And I think Legendary is kind of like, let them shoulder that. I mean, let's why not? There's I think that way it's also going to be kind of an international kind of production in a way too. Yeah. So I love the idea of having essentially two Godzilla continuities, happening at the same time. One is really going to serve as good PR for the character. I think that the Legendary Godzilla will kind of be more of an ambassador Godzilla, because there's going to be a lot of people who think Godzilla is just something from the 70s and that's all it was, and most people they don't even realize they've been making Godzillas all through the 2000s. Yeah. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah. So a lot of people don't realize that Godzilla is from 1954. They think Godzilla was like 3 movies in the 70s, and that's it. So this will the MonsterVerse will kind of introduce a group of people who otherwise would not be seeking out Japanese films about giant monsters. Yeah. Introduce them to the character, and then hopefully, in addition to watching those movies, they'll watch the Toho ones. And for people out there who are Toho purists and are all on saying 2014 isn't a real Godzilla movie, I'm like, well, it's It's not
It's railing off the Toho. So.
It's not a crime drama. It's not a romantic comedy. So if you can find another category for it, be my guest. But it's got Godzilla. He's big. He breathes a blue atomic breath. His spines line up, and he fights other monsters and knocks over cities. I mean, I don't know. Like,
hey, as far as I'm concerned,
what else are you gonna call
that's
it?
your loss. If you don't
If you're not gonna
don't ruin it for everyone
well,
else.
it's like
Negativity.
it's like you're purposely choosing not to like it
Yeah.
for no reason. I'm not gonna like it because Toho didn't make it. So even if it looks like Godzilla, is Godzilla, feels like Godzilla, does everything a Godzilla movie does, you're just going to refuse to like it just because, well, people, one day the universe is going to end and all life will go extinct. And this reasoning for not watching a Godzilla movie isn't going to matter. Life is short. Enjoy it. So if you see something, you watch it and it makes you happy, just watch it. If I see a Godzilla movie and it's called Godzilla and it looks like Godzilla, I don't care who made it, quite honestly. If I see that, a great Godzilla movie, and it says Roger Corman presents on it, great, fine with me. Ultimately, I want a good Godzilla movie. Whoever is going to make it. I mean, the people who initially made the original Godzilla, Toho, are all dead now. So the original creators of this character aren't even around. The people who are working at Toho now got hired there over the years, but they were outsiders who came into a company. So the company is just a brand logo. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The people who are working there now had nothing to do with the original. You know, the people who are making all decisions at Toho are not the same people at all who are making decisions in 1954. So it doesn't matter who, you know, Toho is just the people writing the checks. It's the bank, you know, Godzilla is the money that's being put into it to make a Godzilla movie. So, but with that said, for all of you guys out there who, God forbid, if you don't see that Toho logo come up first, you must, you know, your devout worship of it makes it so you cannot accept it. Well, then great. We'll have then this other continuity and franchise going on, so you guys can still get the real Godzilla.
Situation. Everybody wins.
And then for all of us normal, well-adjusted people who realize that this is just a movie and it's just a character and it's all just for fun, we get two great ongoing franchises happening at the exact same time. So when I don't feel like wearing pants, I can put on Netflix and watch Godzilla. And when I can finally muster up, you know, the willpower to put on pants, I go out to the movie theater and watch Godzilla. As far as I'm concerned, like I said, it's a win-win. So whether you want to wear pants or not wear pants, there's a Godzilla for you.
That's the ultimate question.
That's the ultimate question. Do you not want to wear pants today while you enjoy Godzilla? You have that option now. You can decide, starting in, like, you know, hopefully in like 2020 or 2021, you know, that'll be your biggest, you know, question when it comes to watching a Godzilla movie. Pants, no pants. I mean, I'm just saying that's the future. That's the world I want our children to grow up in. That's, you know, like that's the better. You know, every parent always says they want their children to grow up in a better world than they did. It's good to know they will.
The future where you can choose to wear pants or not.
When you watch a Godzilla film, it's a great time to be alive, folks. But, I mean, that's really all there is to say about this right now. I mean, there really isn't much beyond that. They just kind of announced this, and it was like, oh, cool. But, you know, as is usually the case with Japan when it comes to entertainment and media, they're pretty tight-lipped, whereas in the West, we'll announce something and start talking about it before
there'll be news articles about just the announcement.
Yeah, and they'll be interviewing, and people from the studio will be talking about their plans for how they want it to look before there's even like a writer selected to write the script. They'll be talking about like what their goals and plans for it and the sequels they want to do for it. Whereas in Japan, it's very much like the fact that we got an announcement this far out was a big deal.
Surprising.
Yeah. But honestly, we're probably not going to get anything more than that until probably 2020. We're not going to really know anything until probably maybe like the first film or two is in production.
Yeah.
But then again,
we could be wrong.
You know, again, if they're using Marvel as an example, they might, and not only just the formula of how they make the movies, but also how they promote these movies too. And especially if they're trying to get Godzilla hyped up abroad more. Yeah. They know in the West, you know, the hype is more long-term. It's more over a longer period of time. So they might start adopting that philosophy. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting kind of business model for Toho that they're, you know, but I'm glad to see that they're venturing into kind of like new ground, new territory, and they're not afraid to do things differently because it's what's best for the character. And I think that's a great move on their part because it shows that they really care about the character and they want they want people to care about him, and they want to make him relevant, and that's the main thing. And right now they're kind of making all the right decisions. So there's been no confirmation that the MonsterVerse will continue past 2020, or at the very least, if it does, continuing with Godzilla. But the fact that prior to this announcement, Toho had come out and said that they will be kind of co-financing a portion of these productions involving their characters, name-dropping Godzilla himself, tells me that talks to maybe kind of extend Legendary's lease of Godzilla at least has been had, and that they've kind of put some terms for that. Like, this is how we want to renegotiate the contract. This is how we want to be involved. And so long as you agree to those terms, hey, if it's making money and it's Godzilla, why not, right?
Yeah.
It's more attention to the character, more love for the character, and, just keeps him going, because ultimately that's what we want, right? We want the Godzilla to continue on. We don't want to see the franchise die. As much as I love the films that have already come, I don't want those to be the only films. I want more Godzilla. Godzilla is like
more of the thing we like.
Yeah, more of the thing I love, and just to kind of see how this character is kind of reimagined and reinterpreted, throughout the decades, and how he becomes socially relevant to new generation. That's always, that's one of the reasons why I love 84, is that it was kind of like, original 54 was like the fears of World War II, Godzilla, and 84 was like a Cold War Godzilla. So I would love to, and Shin were more modern fears. So again, I want to see that continued on. I want to see new generations have their Godzilla. So, yeah, with that said, that's pretty much it. So, again, as more news comes out about this, and I'm sure, the next couple years or so, we'll probably start hearing more about this Toho Cinematic Universe, and also hopefully, too, if the MonsterVerse will continue as well, because personally I want both happening at the same time, because to me that's the best of both worlds, and who doesn't want that? But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll try to keep you guys posted on this story, and I know I always say we'll try to do these once a month, but
hey, the news dictates it.
yeah, and again, just our busy schedules, but we're trying to make more time for more things. But obviously, if a big chunk of news that's really juicy comes out, we'll jump on and talk about it, especially if it's relevant to what we just talked about today. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace!
Peace.